Hi, it's Sonia. Welcome back to my art YouTube channel. This morning here, I thought I'd start off before a sketchbook process video with a quick look. I wanted to call this sort of segment, I guess, like looking at works or drawings I've done in the evenings, because on reflection, like when I'm doing them in the evening, sometimes this one was the one I did in the evening last night. I'm sometimes a bit like, I'm enjoying the drawing, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's the light, maybe it's because it's a bit later in the day and I'm a bit tired, but I'm sometimes like, oh, I don't know if I love that. But then the next morning, it's quite refreshing to look at the work you made. It's nice to know that you made something, maybe after dinner or before bedtimes or whenever you get the chance. And yeah, the colours, everything looks a bit different. I mean, I do have actually a daylight bulb, but even with the lamp, like, it's just quite fun to do some sketches in the evening and have a look. These are nice bits of paper I'm keeping to do little miniatures on as well. They're like cut-offs of watercolour, by the by. And yeah, this sketchbook here is actually from my bedside table. It didn't start off that way. It started off, I think, just one I was keeping in the kitchen. I've got a different one in the kitchen, and I do tend to like take them around with me and then mislay them, like leave them in places and end up not working in them for a bit. But this is kind of like because this is a cheap sketchbook and the paper's thin, it's just for like, in theory, quicker sketches or just sketching with pencils. I'm not really going to use actually, you can use wet material on this paper, to be fair. But I was really getting into drawing from photo references, but just with one pencil, varying like the pressure, sort of the trying to get sort of contrasts in using one implement, as it were. And I think these are quite. I love the soft pencils, like 6B for these, or 2B, 6B is my go-to at the moment. And then also I played around with just kitchen table. So this was like an evening drawing, actually. 6 p.m. after I dropped off one of the kids and playing around with some neo colours. Drawing on the table. Oh, kids sleeping, 9:30 p.m. Yep, so I'm keeping this one for bedtime sketching. And yeah, this one I think I did not this one might be last night, from a photo of myself. I made myself look like I've been crying. I hadn't. It's just how I sketched myself in bed with one pencil. It was a mechanical pencil, and I guess it's just good to practice, and it is nice to reflect that I am doing a tiny bit of drawing, like before reading or going to sleep. So that's just a quick flick through those sketchbooks. Also, I've been having a bit of a tidy up. I might show a studio video at some point, but I thought I've just got these piles. I do work on paper, and I work on paper sometimes in a similar way to sketchbooks. I've just got many things going on, half worked on, that I'll come back to. These are really old drawings that paintings I did years ago, like they were just abstracts on their own, but now I'm thinking about using them for like collage or drawing on top of. I don't think I've shown this paper stack because this is quite recent work, I feel like. But yeah, I was just experimenting with going on from working in sketchbook to still life on paper. Then this one is an ongoing one that I'm sort of coming to if I want to it's going to grow. So like I've kept it out, and then if I feel in the mood, I'm just adding more and more marks to it. Yeah, so some still paper that I've painted, like this was on my kids like to use they like the Bristol paper, but then they don't like their drawings, say they want them to be recycled, but I'm like, no, this is good paper, it's thick, I can reuse this. This is cut off a drawing, and then I'm just layering on bits of, this one's gone a bit crazy, but experimenting. Another one where I was just using, I'm using up bits of paint. Oh, there's an old drawing that was framed, and I've taken it out of the frame because I wanted to put something else into it. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that one. Experimenting with a sort of abstract landscape, sort of imaginative. I got really into drawing These, I'm not sure, maybe I was thinking for like print ideas in the future if I need to scan some work in. This is like cheaper drawing paper that I'm, yeah, this is like kids' rejected bits of paper that I'm reusing. This will be, I can either cut it out and use it for collage. So just to say, this is how I feel creative. I just love to have also bits of paper, and then if I'm at a loose end, I can go back to one of them. Okay, so I'm going to now go over and show a sketchbook process video that I did kind of it was afternoon, evening, so hopefully the light is going to be okay, and I'll just do a voiceover for that. Thanks, bye. Okay, so yeah, here is, this is my loose sketchbook, one of them, and in it I'm just flicking through some of the pages. These are like recent, I guess you saw a quick floral still lifes with like one colour. And then this is from yesterday, and I think I just felt like doing a loose imaginative still life spread, and just having a bit of a play around with some oil pastel, mainly I think paints, because this was a pre-prepared background where I'd used up some gouache, so I was like, and then I changed the water over because then I decided I was going to use my acrylic gouache paints for this, because I thought that might work quite well on this background. So yeah, I hope this is probably another like 10 minutes. I hope you're drawing along with this or got your sketchbook journals out. It's not a long one, but yeah, because this sketchbook I tend to work pretty quickly on spontaneously in. Saying that, there are a few pages which are pretty detailed, but in general it is one that I'm going to just go loose, spontaneous, and it's building up. It's actually, I've nearly finished this one. There's another one that will be finished hopefully quite soon. So yeah, so then with this, I was also thinking I'm getting into floral still lifes at the moment, because I am hopefully going to be teaching a workshop in February on sort of loose florals, sort of drawing and loose florals. So I am just sort of still experimenting. It's something that I always come back to, that I enjoy. And again, in sort of evening drawings, when the light isn't great, I'm finding that these are quite good to go to as well, because I'm not so worried as I would be maybe on a big canvas about, it's actually interesting the next morning to review the colours. So yeah, here with this, I think I've described, this process is I'm keeping pretty consistent actually in some ways. I always seem to start off with the vases. I'm looking for inspiration on, so you're going to see there's like if you're watching this, there are little weird pauses, and that's when I sort of ended up flickering on my Mac, because I'm filming on normally I'd do this on my phone, but I was flickering on my Mac to like Pinterest, and I was just looking for inspiration. Often, like, you can get like ceramics from like the Met Museum or the V&A, and it's just really fun to like pick and choose what you want to draw for your vessels. Like, they don't, for me, they're kind of, and then they turn out to be my own, because I'm drawing them really quickly and loosely, and then actually I don't feel like precise. Well, it's not saying that's not a bad idea. That actually is quite a good idea for practice. But I don't at the time sometimes feel like copying these sort of historic or antique vases, the pattern exactly. It's more sometimes I'm looking for a shape, and it's like that whole mixing and matching, that creative play. Like, I don't know, when DJs play around with samples and things, I'm looking at one thing, but then I'm adding my own marks to it, my own colours. They're pretty, here, because I just want to work quick, I realised, just to say, this was interesting, I just sometimes squeeze out some tubes of paint, and I try not to think about the colours, but I realised that I'd chosen sort of that yellowy tone, and it was sort of blending into that orangey background a bit. So then I was like, okay, I want to try and make the vase stand out a bit. So I added white. So it's like fun. The fun thing with these sort of pages is, gosh, where did I write that quote down? I was reading, I haven't finished the book, but I know a lot of us have got it or have been reading it. Is it Rick Rubin, oh my gosh, I'm trying to find it, the Creative Act? I'm like halfway through it, but it's one that you can just stop and start. And actually, I was listening to him on a podcast, and he said, a quote from him is like, the work itself tells us where it wants to go. And I'm sometimes like, I wouldn't say I always feel that. Sometimes I feel like I'm in charge and I'm directing it. But with pages like this, so I'm just going to clear my throat. With pages like this, I actually do feel like, especially if you're a little bit tired and you're just, it does kind of, I feel the page is sort of, all the colours, the sketchbook sort of takes me on a bit of a little journey, as it were, if that makes sense. Let me know if it does or doesn't. So that's the fun of it, I guess, with just playing around with this sort of technique. And then sometimes I'll look for flower references, like when I've come up with the floral shapes. I was thinking how would I think it's good sometimes to practice drawing a plant or a flower shape. And then once you sometimes have looked at that, I feel like every time if I draw the same plant again and again, I get looser and looser because I don't want to draw it exactly in the same way. So then I start to just really pare down the shapes. It actually sometimes, so I was using a photo from my Mac of when I'm out and about. Again, the joy of art is a lot of the time now when you're like an artist or you're sort of, I always feel like I'm now looking for inspiration as well. So if I see something I like, I take a quick picture. So I had some photos of some plants in someone's garden. I think they're like some sort of iris, and I just loosely used that shape. But obviously they were in the picture. I should include some of the references actually. They were white flowers, but I was like, no, I'm in the mood for, let's make them bright pink. And yes, you can see now I'm pausing again because sometimes I am a bit, I'm sure you guys are the same. Sometimes I'm really quick at making decisions. Other times I'm a bit like, I don't know, what should I put here? I was feeling a bit like, and then I know when I'm like that, then it's a bit like, come on Sonia, just, I don't want to sit here. Just draw some stuff in. It's in your sketchbook. It doesn't matter if the pages are looking the same or you've drawn a cup or it's this, people be like, oh my gosh, that's the same sort of still life that you always do. Yeah, but that's what I'm enjoying at the moment. And if you think of some artists, that's what they do. Like Monet did lilies so many ways. Like a lot of times it is about repetition. And so, yeah, that was how I was sort of getting over that. But the sketchbook page I actually do feel looks quite different for me compared to some of my other ones. Maybe because of the colours as well, like that orange and the yellow on the orange. So here I'm coming in with, where am I at? What am I going to do? Yeah, sometimes I do end up taking some long pauses. It's interesting to reflect back. But I think I'm probably looking for more, what am I doing? That's a good question. Oh, yeah. I obviously am indecisive and I'm not able to make up my mind. So, and I've gone for pencil. So yeah, for drawing, I try and use on like pencils or oil pastels. And in this type of a sketchbook, I'm keeping the drawing is just a few lines because I know in reality it's probably going to get, a lot of it will get covered up. But sometimes actually I kind of like I like that oil pastel, that green on the page, that outline. So just playing around. I'm just playing around with different techniques. And oh, that's right. It's coming back to me now. Gosh, this was only yesterday. Then I was thinking about fruits. And fruit we'd eaten, or fruit I fancied, but I hadn't had. Like I think I've tried to do some strawberries. They will become apparent. But we definitely have some clementines in the kitchen. So I was just like thinking what we had and putting it on that table, but drawing from memory. And for me, a great way of loosening up is drawing from memory. I used to be I would never have done this. I'd say, oh gosh, I'd have struggled to do this many years ago, because that's something I found really frustrating, because I wanted to draw realistically or correctly. So I used to really only want to draw from life or from photos. But now with the whole, I really enjoy loosening up, and I enjoy sort of the naive aspects of a painting sometimes. Like for me, that's can be visually more pleasing. So actually, when I'm drawing from memory, it's so much more basic, the shapes, and I'm sort of ad-libbing. So that's another technique to get me making looser art. Because actually, if I've got a reference straight in front of me, I feel like I can easily get a little bit bogged down in details. So yep. So then I decided to add, I think those are my strawberries to the bowl. So it's just, this was a really, for me, playful evening spread, and from it, I think what I like these is they have led to some prints that I have on an art shop unique. This is how I sort of developed that style, and I was like, not brave enough, but it allowed me to go onto paper and do some works on paper, playing around with this sort of just having fun. Oh, and then I was thinking pomelos. Which reminds me, we do need to peel and eat the pomelos. So we had some pomelos in the kitchen, so I thought I'd just stick that in there. So in some ways, and I don't even date these pages, it's sometimes a little bit of a reflection of its imagination, its life, sometimes it's about feelings as well, like the colour choices. I mean, I was wanting sort of that neon green and pink, maybe a little bit of liveliness before dinner, and I love that. There's a mint green coming. I don't tend to mix paints also in quick sessions, because I don't, unless they're left over and I just want to use them up. I kind of like the whole keeping the colours contrasting and not necessarily realistic. For me now is another, I guess it's expressionistic in a way. So I'm playing around with a finer brush and then adding some details to this one. So yeah, this is a good start to the week. I'm wondering, like, if you guys are thinking what you're going to be. Sometimes I just let the week flow and I have no idea where it's going to take me in terms of work. Like sometimes I get asked on Instagram, oh, you seem very prolific, and that wasn't always the case at all. I think maybe I'm in to be transparent, I'm in an easier stage, a season of life at the moment. Things can change, but like when you have a bit of stability, and one of the, I think I might have talked about in another video, but after having had years of not doing any art, I now really appreciate having an art practice. So when I can make art, I will prioritize it over like a lot of things, like having an overly clean house or watching television or baking, as I said before. But like so I think sometimes I'm so keen to make as much work as I can. I do, just like, as you've seen that pile of paper, I do I just really enjoy being creative, so I will just follow what I feel like doing. There's part of me that actually sharing with you now, I'd like to be, and share with me in the comments, like what you're feeling. Maybe this time of year, I don't like to make. I'm not a huge one for that whole New Year's resolutions or too many, as it were, goals. But I am starting to maybe think about, maybe in a week, like being a little bit more focused. So that's where I'm at. This video is coming to an end because I think I felt last night or last early evening that this was nearly done, and I was happy with it. So I'm just adding I thought I'd add my notebook in, or one of my sketchbooks, to the page. Thank you as always for watching. I hope maybe this video has given you a few ideas, kept you company while you're making some art. And yeah, I do have a Patreon, and check that out if you fancy it. Yeah, please do like and subscribe, and I will be back hopefully with maybe a bit more of a focused week, and we'll see what this week I end up making. And yeah, let me know what you're up to. Bye.